Welcome into the Orange and Blue weekly breakdown presented by Canyon Bakehouse. Canyon Bakehouse makes delicious, certified gluten-free breads, bagels, English muffins, and other baked goods right here in Colorado. Their gluten, dairy, nut, and soy-free products make it easy for families to enjoy the taste and texture of fresh bread so everyone can love bread again. Find them at any major grocery store in the freezer or fresh bread aisle and visit canyonglutenfree.com to grab a coupon. I'm Allie Monroy, and with me today, as always, is DNVR Broncos beat writer Ryan Koenigsberg. The Broncos had another disappointing loss on Sunday. If you stopped watching the game at halftime, you probably thought the Broncos won no problem, up 17-0 or 20-0 at halftime. But
also, you're lucky that you only watched the first half.
But that wasn't the case. The Broncos blew the game. They ended up losing 27-23. Ryan, it was a heartbreaking loss. So what was that? What's the team looking like now?
Surprisingly, they did not take it poorly. You talk about no moral victories in pro sports. I kind of think they feel pretty good about themselves that they almost. It's not that they almost beat them. It's that they for half of the game they beat the crap out of the Minnesota Vikings, and I think they left feeling pretty good about that. Now that's a problem. Because I think they were feeling pretty good about themselves at halftime, which is one of the reasons they lost the game. But you see a lot of losses that can really take the air completely out of a team and just knock them dead. Weirdly enough, this wasn't like that for the Broncos. And I feel the same way. I feel better about the Broncos today than I did before last Sunday, especially the young players. And, I wrote a whole column about it. But this team can beat handily a team like the Minnesota Vikings for a half based on their defense and some good offensive play calling. That should make you feel good about where this team is going, not this year, but in years to come.
But what happened with that defense in the second half? That's concerning. They gave up 4 touchdowns on the 4 drives the Minnesota Vikings had. That's what happened.
Here's what I do with that. Just clean your hands of it. It happened. It's over. It was an outlier. It was a complete and utter, a anomaly. It's not going to happen again. Yes, it was really bad. I think if you want to know the details of what happened, I think they had a game plan that was built to stop the run and invite the Vikings to pass. And then they put the Vikings in a situation where they didn't want to run the ball anymore, and the Broncos didn't adjust enough to the fact that they were like, cool, we'll pass the ball. That's what we need to do to get back in this game, and it worked.
Does this put an end to that Brandon Allen hype train that was happening?
Yeah, it was like a one-car train.
Yes, but.
But yeah, it does. I sat here on the podcast and in various forums and say, like, hey, I'm not going to be the person who says that Brandon Allen can never do this again because I don't want to be on the wrong side of history here. But that's the feeling. It happens in every sport. A guy comes in, there's no scouting report on him. He can kind of do enough. And it's not as if Brandon Allen, blew everyone away in that game. He did just enough to win. He was doing enough to win. And man, if let's say they just double up what they did in the first half and they win 40-0 against the Vikings, then the Brandon Allen hype train is probably out of control right now. But it did, you saw him come back to earth, and you saw him complete 46% of his passes. He threw a bad interception. So I think that if anyone was starting to get ready to say, forget Drew Lock, we got Brandon Allen, I think that probably came to an end.
Well, the Broncos take on the Bills, who are 7-3 coming into this game. What's their next step? Do they tank? What do the Broncos do?
I hate to do this. On the podcast after the game on Sunday, we said this is a must lose.
That's crazy.
and that's obviously an opinion.
Yes.
But it's if Brandon Allen's 2-1 with a win over a 7-3 team on the 7-3 team on the road, it's easy to sell. We got to keep rolling him out there. Also, it can knock you out of the top 10 in draft position. I personally I've been the person who's been saying it's not all about tanking, and I'm not pro tanking. I personally think there's nothing to be gained from winning this football game. I think they need to put an end to this chapter with a nice loss in Buffalo, start a new chapter with Drew Lock the next week. But again, I don't know if that's going to happen.
Well, do you have a score prediction?
Score prediction, yes. I just said it's a must-lose game for the Broncos, which means they are going to win the football game 16-10.
All right, well, be sure to catch all of our post-game content on thednvr.com. For Ryan Koenigsberg, I'm Allie Monroy, DNVR.